Did you know that there are actually 3 good ways to get into consulting? I'm here today to introduce you to all 3 paths because what worked for me may not work for you, and all 3 paths can be a brilliant launch into consulting and take you where you want to go. So let me introduce you. Here we go. 3 paths to becoming a highly paid consultant. Path 1, the path of least resistance. I call it starting small, and that is you keep your full-time salaried job. You keep doing what you're doing and doing really good work, but you start dipping your toe in the water on the side. You pick up a project for a nonprofit. You call a friend who complains about a business problem and you say, I could do a project for you and solve that problem in the next 3 weeks. That is a really wonderful way for you to test the market. See if you like doing project work, figure out what you want to specialize in, build up your portfolio, figure out your price points. It's really a great way to test the waters. Now, the second path is what I call starting easy, and that is launching as a consultant by getting your first project and multiple projects through staffing and consulting firms. This is the way that the vast majority of consultants launch and, quite frankly, stay in consulting. It's a wonderful way to make a living. I lived in that consulting world for a long, long time. I worked for 3 global consulting firms as a recruiter, a manager, a sales dude, and as a consultant advising an international consulting firm on how to turn around their recruiting organization. So anyway, to suffice it to say, there is a reason that the staffing industry is a billion-dollar business. And the reason is it's good business. It's good for clients who are hiring consultants through those vendors, and it's good for consultants who are finding and getting the jobs through staffing firms. Let me give you a couple of the brightest reasons to work through staffing and consulting firms. It can mitigate a lot of the headaches, and it can mitigate a lot of the risks. The staffing and consulting firms are finding the clients, they are negotiating rates, they are doing contracts, they're doing collections, they're carrying the business and liability insurance. This is assuming that you go and work through those firms on a W-2 hourly basis. You can occasionally work through consulting firms as a 1099 if you're really, really good at what you do and you're a shrewd negotiator. But there are a lot of great firms that won't even work with you on a 1099 basis. They're going to hire you as a W-2 hourly, which means they carry the insurance liability. It means they pay half of the FICA taxes. They are responsible for collections, pay you on time. They handle the agreements. And you've got somebody in your court when you run into trouble on assignment. You have somebody to call who's just as motivated as you are to fix the problem, because if you blow up, they lose money and you lose money. So it can be a marvelous way to start as a consultant and to continue. What you need to know is not all consulting firms are created equally, and there are some amazing high quality firms out there, and there are some body shops. So you have to have your eyes wide open. That's path 2. Path 3 is what I call going big, and that's how I launched Arbez in 2006 as a 1099 independent business, hung our own shingle, off we went. And when I'm consulting with organizations, I'm always doing it business to business as an independent consultant, 1099. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Arbez is actually an S Corp. There are a lot of different ways for you to do this, but it is a path. It is the path of the most resistance and the path of the greatest opportunity. So you need to understand the differences between starting small side gigs, working through staffing and consulting firms. And if you want to go big, you've got to get educated about the difference between W-2 and 1099, the business liability that you are assuming as an independent business owner, as an independent consultant. You will be responsible for all of your FICA taxes, not just half of them. So there are tax liabilities, business liabilities. You absolutely will be responsible for finding and closing your own business. Again, greatest risk, greatest opportunity. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, but not everybody has the stomach for that. So those are your 3 options. They are all good, solid paths, and I encourage you to figure out which path makes the most sense for you. If you haven't already done our assessment, do it. It's going to really help you figure out what your gaps are and whether or not you're ready to jump out right now, and if so, which path might be the right path for you. Thanks for tuning in. This is Catherine Byers-Breet, Chief Stripe Changer with Arbez.